This could be your new favorite go-to meal for this winter. Foodland Ontario's Teresa Makarewicz is going to show us how to make this big bowl of comfort food. And I saw, Teresa, when you sent the ingredient list last week, I was like, oh, I've got to try this one.
Oh, good to hear that, because they are very simple ingredients, but they combine to make such a flavorful stew. And it is a big batch. It's family friendly and it's economical, and you could serve it for dinner tonight, tomorrow night, and depending on the size of your family, it could even be the next night. It's called Winter Rescue Hamburger Stew. You can find it on our website, foodlandontario.ca. Now, as I said, the ingredients are very affordable. Lean ground beef, our Ontario potatoes, carrots and parsnips and garlic, and you combine that together, really delicious bowl. Now, the first step in preparing a delicious stew is to brown your meat. And I've done that already. We're using 1 kilogram of lean Ontario ground beef. One tip to remember is to brown it in batches. That way, it doesn't stew, technically. You get a nice good brown on the meat. And you do it in 2 batches. It takes about 10 minutes per batch, and that develops a nice brown, deep color. So I'm going to just set that aside and continue on. I'm going to have a teaspoon of the fat reserved. I'm adding 1 onion, and we're going to cook that until it's nice and golden brown. Now, if you don't have an onion, you can definitely use a shallot. You can use leeks. You could use whatever you might have on hand. And if you just have small onions, just chop those up. This you would saute for about 3 minutes, just to allow the onions to soften. And then we're going to add some minced garlic and dried thyme. Again, we're just swapping right now. So if you don't have time, oregano is a great substitute, Italian seasoning, or whatever you might have on hand. After about a minute, we are going to stir in our natural stew thickener. Classic is a 1/4 cup of flour, and just stir that together for about a minute or so that the flavors of the flour disappear. And we're going to be adding our broth. So I have 5 cups of no salt beef broth, and the beef broth is going to give this stew a really delicious deep beef flavor. And we're adding some potatoes. So I have 4 potatoes. I peeled them, and I'm putting them in quite large chunks. And these are my favorite, my go-to. They're the yellow flesh, but you could use a white potato or a russet potato would work just as well. And some carrots, and 4 large carrots, and we are leaving them in large chunks. And for some seasoning, I have a tablespoon of apple cider. You don't have apple cider on hand? Balsamic vinegar will do, or even red wine vinegar. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Dry mustard powder would be a great option too. After this comes to a boil, we will stir in the ground beef. We're just going to add a bit of mint. Now, what I like to do when I'm shopping, I like to pick up a big batch, a family-sized package of ground beef, and I freeze it. And I freeze it in plastic bags, such as this. So this way I can freeze it flat, and I have more room in my freezer. Make sure that you label it. So I have 500 grams of lean ground beef with the date. And what I also like to do is what I'm going to use the recipe for. So when I'm checking in the freezer and I need to be inspired, I know that I can use this for my stew recipe. So I set that into the freezer. Will freeze for 3 months, and just remember to defrost in the refrigerator when you take it out. After this has simmered, and you do put a lid on, and just leave it partially open so that the steam can escape. So after the potatoes are tender and also the carrots, you can add your parsnips. And I have, again, 4 large parsnips. no parsnips. Just add more carrots.
Okay, because they tend to get a little mushy if you put them in too early. We have run out of time, Teresa, but I cannot wait to try this because I'm sure it's going to be a meal that tastes even better a couple of days later.
Absolutely, Annette, absolutely. So do shop local, pick up local ingredients, and support our farmers.
Okay, good job. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
And we've got the full recipe up on chch.com.